So we leave for Iceland in 3 days, and I'm not yet packed. I'm packing tonight, and I'm going off Nicole's list. And I'm just packing what's on Nicole's list, right? I'm not like packing extra. I am a chronic overpacker. Just what's on her list. I already have a checked luggage. This will have to be checked. That's already full. And I have a backpack for my carry-on. That's probably going to be full. And a personal item that's already full. And Nicole is probably just going to show up with a backpack. Like, she went on a 2-week safari ride in a backpack. She goes to like Europe in backpacks, and I'm like gonna be walking around Reykjavik with my backpack and my personal item and toting this around. But I also need to leave room to bring back some sweaters and yarn and whatever other trinkets I get. Probably gonna have her go through my stuff to see if there's anything I can leave behind. I'm running out of space. Anyway, wish me luck. Okay. We are 2 days out from Iceland. Nicole has sent the itinerary to my mom, kind of like for safety reasons. I went up to her house and I was like, hey mom, what am I doing? What am I gonna do? Where are we going? And she was like, I'm not telling you anything. So Nicole, you should be very proud of her. She has not spilled one secret. She has mentioned that there is something on the list that she thinks I'm gonna find really exciting, and she had to read it 3 times to be like, is Laura really gonna get to do this? So hopefully I can guess what that is. I'm actually really excited to see if I can guess what it is. And also she told me, if you don't want to go, Laura, I will take your spot. I was like, that's very sweet, Mom, but I do want to go. Sorry about that. I am also still packing. Everything's a little full right now. It's okay. It's okay. Nicole will go through. She'll tell me what I don't need, right? Hopefully. Is that how that works? Things are very full, and I need to figure out what I can live without freezing. Next time you see me, we'll either be with Nicole taking stuff out of my bag or us at the airport. So, till then, wish me luck.
Well, Laura was right about one thing. I definitely hadn't overpacked, but that's because unlike responsible vacationer Laura, I hadn't even started packing yet. It's the day before we leave for Iceland, and I decided to go over to Eastern Oregon for a horse show because Belle, my horse, was showing, and I decided that was a better use of my time than packing for my vacation the next day. If you watched my previous blog episodes, then you know that we're getting Belle ready for her big debut at the NRCHA, National Reined Cow Horse Association Futurity, which is a prestigious event for young horses 3 years of age. Here you find us at Brasada Ranch at the Oregon Quarter Horse Association show. My trainers Krissa, who you see riding Belle right now, and Tenley, who's doing the corner turnback help, decided that it would be a good opportunity to get Belle some practice in the cutting pen in preparation for the herd work portion of the NRCHA event. Now, if you watched the last episode, you know that I took her to a club cutting the weekend prior, and it had its ups and downs. I would say downs and then ups, but it solidified the fact that we could maybe use a little bit more experience. So Krissa was taking Belle through her paces just to kind of feel her out, do some corrections for me, because I was going to ride her next. Because I was able to pull it off the day before my trip and go after all, we entered her for Krissa to ride and then for me to ride, just to get that experience, because I will be the one showing her in Idaho at the end of October. Now, there are numerous NRCHA futurity events throughout the country, but a year ago when Krissa and I sat down and hatched out a plan, we decided to go to a more regional event. So we settled on the Idaho Reined Cow Horse Association's event in October as a more realistic expectation, both for my experience level and for the costs involved. By doing a regional event, it also allowed me to breed Belle's mom Rosie back to Metallic Malice for a full sibling and start a small-time breeding operation. And by small time, I mean a one-mare breeding operation. But Belle is such a nice horse that seemed like a very prudent strategy to me, to be able to show her and meet the goals that I had the moment I bred her. So this really is a goal that's 4 years in the making, between waiting a year for her to be born, doing all the training, of course waiting for her to grow up, first of all, doing the training, and then being able to compete. To make it this far and to still be in the running for it is an accomplishment in and of itself, because some horses just don't have the maturity. And usually you have to wait for the following year, their 4, 5, 6-year-old year, and then you can compete in what is called the Derby. She is doing remarkably well, has such a great mind. I have been so impressed with her, and I'm excited that I'm still pursuing this goal that I set years ago. There's not many opportunities on a large stage for young horses like Belle to get experience, so this is actually Belle's very first horse show. Last week, I took her to a club cutting and I entered the practice pen. It's just practice, there's no pressure, no points, no nothing. This is an actual show, and this is her first time competing. Chris is riding her in a couple classes, and then I'm going to ride her in a class. But while we're waiting for me to come on, let me tell you a little bit about the history of cutting horses. Cutting horses trace their roots to the American West in the 19th century, when cattle ranchers needed agile, quick-thinking horses to separate or cut individual cows from a herd for branding, doctoring, or sorting. These horses developed a natural instinct to anticipate a cow's movements and respond instantly, a trait known as cow sense. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, informal ranch contests began to test which horse and rider could handle cattle most skillfully. And in 1946, the National Cutting Horse Association, the NCHA, was founded in Fort Worth, Texas, to standardize rules and promote cutting as a competitive sport. Today, cutting is a highly refined discipline, judged on a horse's ability to control cattle with minimal rider interference. Eventually, as Belle gets more settled in and better trained and ages a little bit more, we'll move away from the snaffle and into a curb bit, where we will drop the reins entirely and use only our seat and legs to cut out the cow. Now, as a 3-year-old, she's still in a snaffle bit, so we get to help her a little bit with our hands as she learns the tricks of her trade. The horse must display athleticism, intelligence, and instinct, traits selectively bred and trained over generations. Popular bloodlines trace back to influential sires like Poco Bueno, Doc Bar, and Smart Little Lena. The Habsburgs would certainly be proud of the number of times Doc Bar appears on Belle's pedigree. Cutting horses have become a cornerstone of Western performance horse breeding, influencing other disciplines such as reined cow horse, as is Belle's case, and ranch versatility. Their combination of speed, agility, and cow sense makes them among the most respected working horses in the world. They certainly have my respect.
Hi.
How are we doing? It is Monday.
We're good.
September 29th. And where are we going?
We are going to Iceland.
Are you ready?
I think so. I'm packed, so yeah, it's fine.
I was packing.
I finished packing about 2 hours ago. I have some room for some yarn. Hopefully my snacks will be gone by the time we leave, so I should have room.
And I think she means by the time we leave Iceland, because
Yeah.
snacks are important.
I'm not eating all my snacks on the ride there. No.
Are you ready for Iceland?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Tell me about what countries you've been to before.
I've been to Belize, Mexico, Scotland, and Sierra Leone.
Tell me about Sierra Leone.
It's hot.
No, but I mean, like, why were you there? Give backstory.
I set up a fish farm for an orphanage. I was there for a year planning and prepping, and then I trained a manager to take over for me. I've traveled internationally quite a bit.
What's your favorite country you've been to so far?
Scotland. It looked a lot like Oregon, but with sheep instead of cows and castles. That was pretty cool.
We do like castles.
We do like a castle.
I don't think there's any castles in Iceland, though.
That's okay. I'll be okay with that.
We're going for the horses anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. How much training I put in.
Right. Every episode before this has been Laura learns to ride.
Yeah. And just like that, after months of preparing and getting ready for our vacation, it was time to board a plane and head to Iceland. And since this was, after all, a mystery trip for Laura, her first clue card was waiting for her when we landed. And it basically said, board a bus and head to Iceland's capital, Reykjavik, the northernmost capital city in Europe. But our trip kicked off with a surprising start, and that's before we even landed in Iceland. The Northern Lights, also called the Aurora Borealis, are a natural light display that appear in the night sky, usually in places close to the North Pole, such as Alaska, Canada, Iceland, and Norway. You may recall that the Northern Lights are top of my bucket list and the driving force behind why I was going back to Iceland. Because I really want to
to see the Northern Lights, right? So I definitely want to see Northern Lights. At least for me. Obviously, Laura was going to ride. I may have just woken Laura up because there was a notification that there's Northern Lights on our plane. Oh, there they are! Northern Lights happen when the sun sends out charged particles, a solar wind, into space. These particles reach Earth and interact with the gases in our atmosphere. When those particles collide with oxygen and nitrogen, they glow, creating shimmering colors across the sky. Here you can see green curtains or waves of light, which is the most common form that the Northern Lights take. Oh my gosh! Alright, we can go home now. Sometimes you can also see them with pink, purple, red, or blue streaks or arcs, or they appear as slow glows or fast-moving dancing patterns. Maybe we'll still get lucky. We can see it without the 3 inches of window pane. That'd be great. They're one of the most beautiful and rare natural phenomena on Earth, and seeing them depends on dark skies, clear weather, and high solar activity. When it comes to the colors of the Northern Lights, you might be wondering, why are they different? Why did they change? And it's because different gases in Earth's atmosphere glow in different colors when struck by charged particles from the sun. So green, the most common color that I mentioned earlier, is caused by oxygen, about 60 to 150 miles up. Red is rare. It's caused by oxygen at very high altitudes, which is over 150 miles. Pink and purple is created when nitrogen is excited, and blue is also from nitrogen, but typically at lower altitudes. The color you see depends on which gas the particles hit, how high in the atmosphere the collision happens, and how energetic the solar particles are. The best places to see the Northern Lights are in the auroral zone near the Arctic Circle, of which Iceland is one of those locations. And they can occasionally dip further south into the US when there's a strong solar storm, of which we've seen several instances here in the last year, as low as even my home state of Oregon. The best time to see them is late fall to early spring, so September to April, around midnight, and of course in places with dark skies, little light pollution, and clear weather. Strong solar activity increases these chances, and solar activity runs on an 11-year cycle. During a solar maximum, auroras appear more often and further from the poles. This year and next year marks the peak of this 11-year cycle, so if you are interested in seeing the Northern Lights, now is your time to go. I did also recently learn that there is such a thing as Southern Lights, also called the Aurora Australis. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's basically the same phenomenon, but it occurs in the southern hemisphere, in places like Antarctica, southern New Zealand, and Tasmania, Australia. Same colors, causes, and patterns, but they're less commonly seen simply because fewer people live near the South Pole. I might have to add this to my bucket list as well. But enough about science. It's time for Laura to get her second clue for her mystery trip, because we have landed in Iceland and arrived at Reykjavik.
I did.
What's your assignments?
The Hand Knitting Society. I think we're going to a bookstore. I'm gonna go to a museum, a church I can't pronounce, the Sun Voyager, a ship maybe, concert hall, the Old Harbor, and maybe a whale watching tour. Good thing I have my motion sickness patch still on. Selfies with street art and collect souvenirs.
Perfect. Let's find our hotel first.